So don't, these terms I just wrote down here because I was asking what do you know about Jung theory, and these things were kind of people were telling to me. Now I'm telling about these things. So you got this idea of opposite sides. That means two functions of these four, they belong to rational part of ourselves. Rational, it's like analytical, yeah, let's call it like that. So rational, you understand, yeah, the meaning of this word. And two of these functions belong to irrational part. So thinking, you understood, yeah, this idea, it's about facts, theories, I don't know, knowledge and all these things. Feeling, it's about what good or bad. So this means in Jung theory, it's like what good or bad, what I like or don't like, yeah. So sensing is about, how do you think what sensing is about? Yes, it's like sensation. So yeah, it's like yes, it's you understand it. I don't need explanation. Yeah.
It's like perceived information,
but,
and feeling is like perceived emotion.
So how to say? It's like yeah, it's like hearing.
Physical.
It's how to say? It's not literally physical, but yeah, of course, it's. Yes, it's from sensing, and if I am a sensing person, for example, if this ego function is superior, the main one in my personality, in my ego, yeah, in my behavior, that means I percept, like I pay attention on details, like temperature, sound, I don't know what else. Some smell, yeah. If you told me something, I just some. So it's like many. I understand, yeah. It's very difficult for me to explain, but maybe for you, who had this function as the main one, you will understand this idea. Huh? We will talk about this later. Just now, just listen, and after it will be easier for you, yeah. And intuiting, do you understand? Yeah, this things in the intuiting, it's like I percept, I experience this world, but I don't have exact knowledge. It's like I feel, I don't know. It's like if some, yes, just and I can't explain because, for example, if a person who had this sensing as a superior function, for such persons is usually really easy to explain, for example, how he made this conclusion. Because, for example, the temperature was too low, I have seen, I don't know, weather forecast, and I remembered something, you understand, yeah? And then kind of I made a decision to wear warm clothes and blah, blah, blah. It's like, but it's not like thinking, you have to understand, because thinking is very logical. Sensitive, it's not so thinking, but it takes information from many details. And the person who has this sensing as a superior function, he really usually can describe how he got this idea.
Почему-то у меня в голове такая цепочка получилась, например, если филинг это получается, я сделал выбор, с моральной точки зрения он плохой. Нет, например, хороший. Но с чувствую я себя плохо в этот момент, значит это филинг, да? А если sensation, то получается, если я делаю выбор, он плохой,
No, you have to understand.
Я чувствую себя хорошо, значит я его делаю.
Yeah, you have to understand that you don't. So yes, so it's not the way perception of bad or good. Yeah. Yes, of course it's unconscious. Just let me finish. Maybe you will understand it more clear. Because of course I'm kind of sure you want to know it immediately right now. Just listen till the end, and you will understand. So the example you given me. Yes. The example you are giving me, it's about, you were telling, if I'm sensing, yeah, so if I perceive the world with a sensing function, I, for example, evaluate this bad or good. No, you don't evaluate, because if you evaluate, that means you're already feeling. Yeah, understand? Yeah, this sense. And it's usually unconsciously, of course. And intuiting, you also understand. I don't need more explanation. So this function is really difficult to describe. Yeah, for example, comparing to different things. And remember, keep this idea that we have opposite sides. It's like a duality in our psychic. And Jung was telling that, for example, this is ego. And our ego has a different function. Two of these functions, they belong to rational part. Two of these functions belong to irrational part. Yeah. So how do you think which of these functions, belong to rational part?
Thinking is
Wait, thinking and sensing. Any other version? Who thinks a different way? Who? I? Feeling. Thinking and feeling.
it's rational.
Yes, it's rational. So you're right. I want to go with questions further. You're right. I will explain why. You have to understand. That's really important. So thinking, it's really clear to understand. It's no questions. But feeling is a rational part. It's really rational part because I take my decision based upon, okay, let's call it morality. If I don't like this thing, if I don't like this, I won't do it. If I consider these things as, for example, I don't know, it's not properly or something like that, I won't do it. Understand? Yeah, it's really rational because I take my decision based upon rational things. It's not irrational. And now you understand, that intuition, of course, and sensing. These irrational functions of our ego. Do you understand? Yes. So, and now please pay attention. For example, how our ego, I do not want to tell that how it is working, but about this part of your personality. Maybe it may help you if you consider this since I will tell you further. Maybe you will understand the Jung theory. So, for example, on the first place, it should be one of these functions because I can't use four of them in one way. I can't perceive information in all four ways in one moment. So, in one moment, one function will be the main one, and Jung called this function as a superior function. I told you already this word. And remember, this idea about duality. If, for example, this function is my main one, it is called superior. That means this things in my consciousness. Yeah. That means duality. In my unconsciousness, what will be then? Which function? Feel it. It's inferior function. Inferior, you have to understand. So one is, it's not a kind of accidental word. So this one is superior, and if this one is inferior, that means it can influence on me because this function is in my unconscious, and I can't control it. Just keep this idea. I will explain later. Just keep. Okay, understand this part. Main one. Yes. Inferior is unconscious, Understand? So, and this is like, for example, first part, First part, and there is also, it's like a primary function, It's like primary function. One of them superior, and we have secondary function. So we can't accept and behave and experience this world only with this function. Of course, we have all four. It's obvious, as we discussed before. Yes, but it's like. One is primary and another is like a helping, a helping function. It's secondary. You call it as a secondary function. They can't exist all four of them in conscious. So, for example, if I'm thinking person, if I'm thinking person, I have this function as my superior. It's my primary function. So another function is secondary. It can be or from here or from here. Okay, let's, I don't know, which example do you want? I or C? I, okay, let's just example. If my, how to call it, primary function is thinking, for example, my secondary function is intuition. That's the way how I perceive, interact, experience with the world, external or internal, it doesn't matter. But these are in my conscience, I understand. For example, I made my conclusions, I behave very rational way, yeah? So you paid attention that thinking is from rational path. And another function I use for helping, so it's not only about facts, but I also kind of can rely on something that not so about facts, yeah. So it's like I pay attention on facts, but one day it's like something becomes some idea, and I got, for example, I don't know, opening. I did an opening. I just give an example. It's not like in such way, but it's like inside. Yes, you understand. But we remember, yeah, this kind of in our conscious. In unconscious, of course, it's something that inferior. And the example you were trying to explain, yeah, you were arguing with girls, for example. Yeah, you were insisting that. I mean, it makes sense because it usually happens, and especially for this perspective, it's really important. It often happens in our life. For example, just imagine a person. So your example was about brutality. Yeah? Let's imagine. I don't know what example to give you. So I won't give about this example. I mean, I won't give you answer. Maybe you will give me your own answer, but I will give you another example. Just try to understand. Yeah. Okay. For example, usually there are some stories in our life when, for example, very clever professor, you know, very thinking personality, like if thinking his superior function, yeah, or sensing or intuition, his secondary function, he is very rational, very successful, I don't know, very good scientist, and he starts such relationship that really surprise people because he finds, for example, a girlfriend or wife who is completely opposite to him. She's very stupid, let's call it like that, yeah? I don't know how to completely. So she doesn't belong to any science, she doesn't care about these things. Do you understand this idea? It's not. It's like Jung was calling these things as compensation, this compensate function of my unconscious. Yes. Yes, yes, because you understood these things. I will explain later. So this example, so you understood it's really important. If I find a person who can completely opposite than me, that means this function in my unconscious and it's inferior. So they influence on me. Yeah, that's the thing, because I can't understand about that, and that is why in real life I have this example. It's like compensation of my unconsciousness. Do you understand? But if I meet a person that, for example, not my opposite side, but the same, yeah, that means that these functions are okay. They're not so in unconscious. I can understand. So I don't need compensation. Do you understand? And answering on your question, it varies. For example, yeah, for one, women, they really like strong personality because they prefer different functions. So they're not, for example, thinking. It's not necessarily like that, but for example. Yes, and men also have the same. No, there isn't.
Более, так скажем, интересные мужчины, это более высокие или что-то,
well,
знают, что хотят.
You mean successful? Why these men are successful?
Он говорит, что бруталы почему-то, ну, которые в моем момент, они как бы ассоциируются очень мускулинные, да.
It depends, you know, it varies on society. For example, for our society, we appreciate masculine figure, that's true. If you were living, have you been in Europe? I've been in Europe. It's a different. They kind of they don't how to say, they don't appreciate brutality and masculinity. And for me, it was really awful because I'm just trying. It's based upon different culture. You have to understand that if you have such values and these values are really appreciate people here, it's not necessary in other worlds. Even here, you had this discussion with girls. You have to understand. It's no. I don't understand. You want to know what here we have as a perception of what masculine. What do you want to know? And yeah, and what the question is about? Yes or and. If for example, according, yes, I am paying attention to you again. I'm coming back to Jung theory, the theory of compensation. If I am dominated one, I am looking for a partner who is not so dominative. If I will find a dominate partner, we will be fighting. So you understand? We will be fighting. Maybe it's cool for some relationship, but not always. So coming back to this theory, you understand, yeah, this idea. And for example, if we have one function from a rational part, another secondary function from irrational part, and if, for example, kind of they are in our conscious, so and they are not like inferior, and we know about, for example, these things, it's really easy for us to communicate with other people. But usually the question you're asking about, when two personalities come interacting, we also interacting with the help of these functions, understand? And for example, if consider some business relationship, yeah? Sometimes people says if I am, for example, thinking and the intuitive person, and my partner will be a feeling and sensitive person, what does it mean? It's completely opposite. That means we can create, I don't know, for example, really good business. Why? Because I have these functions developed, and I don't consider these things. But he, for example, can see the things I don't see, because he has different functions developed. And we can create really, I don't know, successful business, but that is not necessary, because that means if my partner has completely opposite functions than me, I don't need to develop them. What for? If, for example, if coming back to your, I don't know, example, if I'm very weak and I have a really strong masculine partner, the whole life, it's not necessary for me to kind of develop this function to be strong. What for? I have you. And you, for example, if even you want to, for 1 minute will be kind of really, how to say, not so strong, weak, you can't. Because what for? You have a really weak partner here with you. You understand? I don't say it's good or bad, so it varies, you can see, yeah? That's the way how Jung described the personality, this ego function. And now you can pay attention on these results of the test, yeah, if you did it. If you don't do it, you can just consider yourself and, for example, you don't know, yeah, the answers of each other. You just can pick up any person and let's guess then what functions, for example, you have. Do you want? Mm-hmm. You have to understand that this thing that it's duality, yeah? So if some of them in unconscious, some of them unconscious, but as we can remember already, we know what does it mean unconscious, yeah? And if something I already kind of understand from my unconscious, it doesn't influence on me, it doesn't control me. Understand? So this idea really good is really good working in psychotherapy. So when I understand the things that I didn't understand before, so I kind of become more aware about my personality, about myself, yeah, and these things from my unconscious become to conscious, and they can't control me, they can't influence, yeah. As for example, we consider this examples. Remember about when we were considering Freud about this marriage about girl, yeah, we were considering who got married to a man who were violent into her. So this is idea, it's not only in Freud theory, but in Jungian theory, it's about compensation. So these things stop influence on me when they become from unconscious to conscious. But Jung very clearly described these things from this personality structure. Yeah, understood these things. I don't want to start his structure of personality today. So these things I won't kind of start to explain you today. But we have to finish with this one. So we considered only functions, yeah, of our ego today. So is it clear? Do you have any questions? Did you understand this idea about duality, about both sides? That these four functions, we have all of these functions we have. But some of them, they are in our conscious, some of them in our unconscious. Understand? And according to Jung, for example, when you go through this process of individualization, he called it, yeah, when I'm growing up, for example, all of these functions can be developed the same way. That is why, for example, I told you, compare this test with the test results that you made a couple of years ago. It can change. So it's normal because some of functions you can already kind of develop. As I told you, yeah, in this example with sentience, because I really was not good with these details, and when I kind of got in this situation when I had to get all these details, it was a problem for me. I was kind of losing about this information, and I even didn't listen, yeah, another person. But now this function is not like inferior. I mean, I understand more, so it doesn't influence on me. With you, it's the same idea. Yeah. For example, if you are too thinking person, yeah, that means this moral question they can really be a challenge for you, yeah, because it's inferior. But if you understand more that what you have in conscious, in your unconscious, you have completely opposite side, you can kind of accept these things, and it may help you to behave differently with other people, yeah, with yourself, and in your life, and all these things. So it's the idea of compensation. So our psychic needs a compensation. So if consider some, I don't know, symptoms here, like an example I gave you about this professor, yeah, who was developing only this rational part of his psychic, this thinking. So he forgot about any feelings, not about feeling function, but about love and all these things. And his psychic, because our psychic and our personality consist of all these things, yeah, so it needs to be compensated because we have these things that really important for us, but it's unconscious. So for example, if his rational part is too, I don't know, it's too much overdeveloped, yeah, that means he forgets about these feelings. It's like about love and all these things, and he meets a person who he immediately fall in love, but she's completely opposite, yeah. So it's like compensation for his unconsciousness. So I wouldn't tell it's about weakness. So we can consider it is a weakness if we don't know about this, yeah. But it's like features that we have in unconsciousness, and it's not our weakness. If we understand about this, this doesn't mean that it's weakness. It can't influence on us. Understood?
Могут даже каждый проанализировать, кто им нравился и какие...
Yes, exactly. Yes, exactly. So, yes. It's like that. If you, for example, remember all your, I don't know, friends or girlfriends, boyfriends, your partners, you can compare, yeah, these ego functions. We will consider more detail about your partners when we will be discussing and we will be talking about anima and animus. You didn't tell yet this part of our personality, but it also like these archetypes or complex and parts of our personality, really important.
Compensation это же unconscious, да? Но если ты же ищешь партнера, который тебе, ну, как бы opposite of you, но когда ты ищешь такого же человека, как и ты, к примеру, это уже conscious, да? Или это тоже unconscious? Тоже
So you want me to ask if I if I make a choice of a partner in my life, so is it unconscious or conscious choice? What are you asking about? I don't understand.
You said that compensation is unconscious because you're looking for a partner who is like opposite of you. But when you're looking for a partner who is like close to you, who is related, who is like you, like,
it's not necessary compensation. It's not necessary, but he.
Is it like conscious?
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. You know, divide it. So yes, I wouldn't divide it very strict, because it's not always I do my choices very, you know, unconscious. No, sometimes I really try and, for example, if we remember all this. Marriage that were in queen's families, yeah, so this we had to find exact partner from, I don't know, for this princess, yeah, because it's like, and sometimes this choice is conscious, but of course most of times we have this unconscious. Yeah, not necessary, it's not necessary. I mean, our psyche had this function to compensate, to help ourselves. So we have these functions according to Jung. We have this ability to survive. We can help ourselves. So our psychic, it works like that, that it can be compensating by meeting with people, by some activity you can do, yeah. But it's not necessary. So not everyone has problem of suffering. So some people just do their living and don't need any compensation. In what?
Twin flames.
What does it mean? I don't know. I have no idea. What does it mean? Twin flames?
Complete opposites, they attract, and when they come together, they are like a very good couple.
It can take place. I mean, I can't consider it's good or bad. I told it's the fact that can be. I mean, it can be like that choices, but I don't believe that it's. It's like just connection. For me, I can see both. You see, yeah, it's like I can see both sides. It's not like, oh, this is main sin, you have to believe. No, it can be like that, but okay, it can be another way, as I told you. Yeah? So is it clear? Because if I know myself, my unconscious sins, if I know and understand about my personality more than another person, it doesn't influence on me. Everyone has a projection, yeah, of course, but projection terms that became to us from psychoanalysis, yeah, we know that since, and of course all of these things based upon projection. I told you, yeah, it's about unconscious. We will talk about this next time, about projection, when we discuss the Jung theory. Do you have questions?
То есть это не обязательно то, что каждый ищет себе компенсацию.
Yes, it's not necessary. Yes, it's like, you know, sometimes life is giving us such things that we have to grow up. For example, from a Jung perspective, if you kind of meet with such opportunity, with difficulties in your life, you can grow up. And this is process of individualization. You become wise and all these things, but it's not necessary for everyone, because I know people that at the age of 60 or 70, they the same like they were at the age of 15. So no compensation, no need for development. I will tell about this next time, more detailed, yeah? So can we finish? Okay.